Love podcasts, hate nonsense. The PoliticsJOE podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Happy birthday, Eva Santina.
Oh, thanks.
Happy birthday, Eva.
And Ed. Tough weekend to be Ed Campbell.
Uh-huh.
Your boys took one hell of a beating. At Twickenham and in the Bundesstaat. Yeah.
No, I thought you meant Ibrox.
Yeah, and Ibrox as well. Yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
L's all across the board.
So the Social Democrats.
Yeah, the AFD
Scotland.
second in Germany.
Yeah. Is
Scotland
are you
losing the
joking that
rugby.
is it the joke that you're making that I'm far right?
The joke is that you're Scottish and far right, yeah.
Okay. Come on. The lonely man.
I thought you were a big supporter of Anna Sawa.
Yeah.
I thought that was like your...
So that's another part. I'm a sorrower, right? But ultimately, extremely right way.
He seems to really get men's mental health, you know.
Just the sort of how village British politics is, that like you could talk about American politicians and their acolytes, and you know whether or not they have familiar catch-all terms like Bernie Bros or whatever, but they do have their acolytes and they have words for them. But like Starmerite or Sarwarite,
Yep.
which I think we could workshop something better than
It's
that.
just harder to say.
Yeah, but they're just lame, aren't they? It's tough.
Do you remember at Labour conference? No, because you wouldn't have been there. Labour conference when Anna Sawa and Emily Thornberry were dancing on stage together. Yeah. It was real.
Did that make you a sorrower, right?
Maybe a Thornberryite.
An
Sean was in the crowd like this. Yes! What did you say?
An anisole.
Oh my God.
What is anusole for? Is it hemorrhoids?
I can't remember. But, well, we're not. Well, this podcast is halting while we find out.
Small matter of an election in Germany, guys.
Do you think the anisole line will undo Sarwar's progress in Scotland?
Yeah, it's for hemorrhoids.
Do you think that we should take the Trump line, which is like, Germany, they're having elections. We got our own problems.
It's for hemorrhoids and other minor anorectal conditions, such as anal itching and fissures.
Ooh.
Don't act like you've never seen this before.
Often used post-operatively. I don't have hemorrhoids.
This is
No, hemorrhoids
this is
either.
the first time I'm learning about this.
Hemorrhoids? What's that?
I could never.
There's one podcast where we're all standing up.
Is hemorrhoids piles? Are they the same thing?
I think so.
Cool. Haven't had that either.
Just check.
Who wants to do a rundown of the results from the German election? Who wants to give us a starting fire the starting pistol? Ava, you want to give us a rundown of what's the latest from Germany?
Great night for the Conservatives.
Yes.
The CDU party. How do you even say his name? Merz?
Yeah, Merz.
Friedrich
yeah.
Merz.
Friedrich.
He's got... Do you know what's interesting about this? He's got less of a vote share than Starmer did. Just under 30%. The AFD doubled their vote share. 19% they got. Olaf Scholz, who the hell is he?
Yeah.
Greens. No one gave a shit about them this election, did they?
I like the idea. Who the hell is it? As there's like football fans like mocking like Schultz. Who the fucking hell are you? As he leaves, hanging his head in shame.
So Germans do this really interesting thing after the election. So they do the exit poll, right? And the exit poll is incredibly thorough. You get so much information.
That's not like them, is it?
No, but then it takes them weeks to form a government, right? So anyway, so we found out last night, bang on 10:01, that 37% of the working classes voted for the AFD. That is incredible data.
Yep.
Sorry. Wow.
Wow.
And then you've got that they were there was a huge boost to the AFD from 18 to 24-year-olds, a lot of men who turned out for the first ever time to vote. How do you know that?
Yeah.
I thought
East
that was
Germans as
interesting.
well. A lot of East Germans. Yeah.
A lot of East Germans, which is where a lot of the industry is. Well, used to be. Am I right?
Amen,
Before
sister.
Olaf Scholz was like, do you know what? Car making, Germany seems a bit incongruous, doesn't it?
Not anymore.
No.
Before Olaf
You know what?
Scholz.
That's the far right.
Before
Coming in, boys.
Before Olaf Scholz single-handedly destroyed German industry. I would just shout out here as well. We did an interview with Katja Hoyer about a year or two ago now. I think probably 2023 maybe. Historian about East Germany, which I would signpost anyone to go and have a listen to, because
A lot
she does
went on there, of
talk
course.
famously, a lot of history in East Germany. Yeah, the conversation lasted for days.
Ollie coming up for water breaks. You're not done. No. We're still in Barbarossa.
Anyway, so they all sat down right after the exit poll.
Yes.
All of the leaders, and they discuss sort of what happened,
Such a
what's
funny
next.
thing.
And then it's like this like really amazing, like, but basically it's like Friedrich Merz just like not making eye contact with Alice Vital from the AFD. He's just like, can't see her. Like, and then he just went on this like tirade against Donald Trump. He was like, you know, the Americans, you cannot trust them.
Yeah. And I think that's the politics of the AFD looming large there, to be honest with you. I mean, like, I guess historically, Germany has always found itself in between Russia and America and trying to decide in which direction it's going to go, certainly since reunification. And I think that is further evidence of that sort of the pressure that the AFD is exerting on the centre-right in Germany. And it's not just when it comes to foreign policy and whether or not they're pointing themselves towards America or whether or not they're pointing themselves towards Russia. It's things like climate change policies and green politics, like the CDU. I've made a note of it here. Which one is it? Yeah, they oppose, like, they have a yes to cars policy, which is sort of opposing like ULEZ and things like that. They want to lift the EU's planned combustion engine ban, and they want to abolish the law that was going to phase out oil and gas and domestic heating. And the AFD has made huge political capital out of opposing these green measures. Similarly, on immigration and security controls, like the fucking CDU are talking about leaving the Schengen area.
Germany.
Yeah, the Germans want to leave Schengen.
It's not very pro-car, that, is it?
No, it's not.
Hard limits to where your car can go.
Yeah. They're going to
Drive
make
the river
it...
you want.
You can drive in the German cities, but not the other ones.
Also, it just does. It's slightly incongruous, like his line on like just not being a fan of Trump and not wanting to work with Trump, and then like, well, your biggest export, not your biggest export, one of them is cars. Surely you would like to strike a deal with Donald Trump to keep selling your cars over in America. That was the one thing that he said he was going to crack down on.
And that's one of their issues as well, is their sort of their trade imbalance. The Germans, when we talk about like why their economy's been stagnant for 3 years, it's not as simple as them being over-reliant on Russian gas. You know, they're massive export issues. They've got an aging demographics, and they also have sort of anemic productivity growth as well, which for British listeners might sound slightly familiar.
Ooh.
See what he's done there?
Yeah, absolutely. Tied it back to British politics.
Yes, because that's what I know.
That's what Alice was saying last night, wasn't it? She was like, you know, everything.
Alice.
Yeah, Alice.
As in the AFD girl.
Yeah.
You know from work.
Mina. Anyway, she
Yeah.
she's a real self-loathing bitch, isn't she? She
Well,
hates herself.
I think maybe she hates her wife.
Yeah, she hates her
Why
wife.
did she hate her wife?
She's married to a Sri Lankan woman,
Right.
and I can only imagine that
The old ball and shit.
her angling at far right politics is an effort to deport her wife. I think is probably what she's driving at.
Would you ever get into politics to deport your wife?
No,
No? That's good.
I promise.
That's sensible.
Do you know?
There must be easier
Remember
ways.
that guy I met in Boston who said he voted Brexit because he didn't want his Turkish wife's family to go over?
Yes. Yeah, I do remember. Yeah. She's been quite useful to them politically as well, hasn't she? Because she her name allows them to chant that fucking Nazi paramilitary slogan that their man in Thuringia, Bjorn, he got criminally convicted because it's a Nazi slogan, Alles für Deutschland, which you're not allowed to say.
Yeah, they won't let you say anything anymore.
Get arrested and thrown in jail for parroting the slogans of a Nazi paramilitary organisation, the Sturmabteilung. And
There was like a really good explanation of this on there. Like the other day, one of their politicians was like, I don't see how that's any different to make America great again.
Jesus Christ.
Are we just saying anything now, fellas? Like,
yeah,
You think the Nazis are the same? You think they're the same as the Nazis?
but now because she's in the party, they are allowed to chant Alles für Deutschland rather than Alles für Deutschland. So big news for people who like using Nazi slogans at rallies.
Yeah.
Nazis, you might call them.
You could do. Yeah.
Big rally guys.
Yeah.
They
They've said that weird shit. Like one of them called the Holocaust Memorial like a monument of shame.
well, I mean, it
But
probably should be.
not in like the
It,
traditional sense
no.
though.
What were you, pro-memorial? Like, what are you...
Yeah, actually, I think you're right. Like German politics should have rode in behind him and been like, "Do you know what? You're absolutely right. This is shameful." Yeah, it's just bad. It's real bad. isn't it? Why do you think it's happening? Why do you think there is this tilt towards?
Hang on, I'm not bitching. I'm not done bitching yet.
Sorry, no, go on.
The self-loathing lesbian.
Yeah.
Like,
Go on. Please,
it's
go
just
on.
very interesting that she leads a party that is sort of family values, which is code for it's going to be man, wife, and 2.5 children. And then she's out here living her hedonistic lifestyle.
Lesbianism is inherently hedonistic.
Yeah.
It's a bourgeois indulgence.
The AFD do have, like, they are pro-natalist, aren't they? They've got sort of family activation policies.
Do you know, that's never a normal policy, is it? Like, it's never just like, we would like you to have children. Okay, so like I think there's a centre-left group of people, especially over here, who are like, we can't afford to have children anymore, and we would like more support with nursery hours, and you know, it's a normal conversation.
Child tax credits, maybe.
And then you get people like Miriam Cates, or like the AFD being like, you must have babies to stem the flow. Stem the flow. Like,
It's quite a Nazi policy. Encourage people to have babies.
Yeah.
they used to give them medals, didn't they?
Yeah.
Volkish.
You're the Mutter of the Reich.
Oh.
The Reichmutter. I picked up German so poorly.
No wonder the Pope's kicking it. You know, he's looking at all of this and he's like,
Is he still with us?
Yeah.
Did he
still with us.
pass the night?
Did he pass the night?
Papal.
Yeah. Did you not see that's the statement the doctor put out?
Oh, he passed the night?
Yeah, he said he passed the night on like Friday or Thursday, and everyone was like, "Brother, could you be more specific?"
You need a preposition.
Yeah.
There. Did you see the joke that he made?
The Pope.
The Pope. He made a joke. Someone went in and said, "Hello, Holy Father," and he went, "Hello, Holy Son." Good joke. Good bit.
I don't know if that's a joke or if
It
that's
is a
just a
joke.
Catholic being like,
They don't. He doesn't call everyone Holy Son.
I would.
Oh yeah, it'd be fun to be
Yeah.
the Pope, have a bit of a laugh on your deathbed.
you know, though, Pope Benedict's really set a terrible precedent for popes because he abdicated, of course, stepped down early. And now you've got cardinals all over Italian radio being like, listen, Fran, my man, could step down. And kidneys aren't looking great.
Yeah, I saw the conditions moved to his kidneys now. What's the prognosis?
Not great.
What do you mean? What are the Catholics saying?
Yeah.
Well, we're all praying for him at the moment. Yeah.
Sean, you praying for him?
Yeah.
It's Jubilee year though, so he's kind of taking the piss
What's
a little bit.
Jubilee year?
It's like every quarter of a century. It's kind of like Catholics are encouraged to sort of go to Rome, go to Vatican City, and celebrate being Catholic. It's like a kind of
Tourism drive.
it's almost like an outreach program where it's like come and join the faith.
Sean, I'm sorry, you don't have your microphone, do you?
I have it here, but I don't think it's on.
Okay, well, what's the name of that papa that DJs?
Oh yeah.
He is Padre. Is it Guillermo?
Yeah, I think it's Padre Guillermo,
He's your guy.
who DJs at those gatherings of young Catholics
Yeah.
Eucharistic Congress.
at the Eucharistic Congress. Presumably, the Eucharistic Congress this year is going to fucking go off if it's a Jubilee year as well.
Absolutely. A new Pope.
Wow.
Holy shit.
They are
Big
going
year.
to drop in eckies left, right, and centre at the Eucharistic Congress.
Like their wafers. Body of Christ.
Very good. Very good.
Shame about that, Francis. Though, very progressive Pope.
Yeah, but he's made
I don't like anyone to die, do we?
the College of Cardinals very liberal in his image as well. He's appointed a ton. So
How long do you reckon it'll take them to choose his replacement?
Well, there's that Argentinian bloke who's like tipped for it, right? But like, you're never meant to look at the one that's tipped. Apparently, that's always just like a false flag.
Right.
They never give it to the one that you expect.
Good odds on the Argentine, maybe. Back to Germany. Should we be surprised? Should we be surprised in a former economic powerhouse that's stalled in terms of its economic growth for the last 3 years, that has accepted 3.4 million refugees since 2015, that in the wake of economic stagnation and a large influx of immigration, that people turn to the far right electorally? Does that surprise either of you?
It's a bit reductive, I think.
Okay.
I think that you're following the lines of the old Alice Weidel. You've been brought in there.
Yeah? What do you
Yeah.
think's happening then?
Well, I mean, I think the obvious problem is the stagnating economy and factories shutting down, industry closing. And it's very, sorry to now be reductive myself, but I think it's easier to sort of shout immigration as the problem rather than, you might recall the early 1930s, hyperinflation, not a lot of work for the people there. And who do they blame?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just sort of a transfer, isn't it? It's much easier to shout, oh, look at the Muslims, rather than, hey, Olaf, why the fuck have you shut the factories?
Why are we so reliant on Russian energy?
Yeah.
Ed, what do you reckon? What do you make of it all?
I think it could be a useful blueprint for Starmer, but I feel the kind of the narrative in this podcast is that Starmer won't learn anything, and it's just opening the door for a reform government. But if you can learn lessons from this, it's almost like it's good that Germany's like a lesson for us, isn't it? Like they do something dreadful, and we're like, fucking hell, far right politics is bad. Anyway, and that might happen again. And it's like you say, it's very similar conditions. The AfD was much more established than Reform is at this point. So we're in the infancy of this process, and I suppose they topped out at 20%, and it was it's a different electoral system, but they didn't go. It wasn't absolute gangbusters for AfD. There's lessons to learn. I think actually what was interesting is Die Linke did the best amongst 18 to 24-year-olds, but there was a real gender split as well. Like women were very, very much in favour of Die Linke, and young men were very much in favour of AfD, which I think mirrors what we saw in America. So I think that's an interesting angle to it as well, is that men across the world are turning to the right at a rate greater than women.
Why do you think that is? What do you think is pushing men rightwards and women aren't moving in the same way? I mean, like, I feel like deep somewhere in the back of my head from a politics lecture, I was told that in the UK that women sort of traditionally lent more conservative if you looked at like their voting history. So what is it do you think that's happening now?
I wonder if just off that point, I wonder if it's a change in men's employment in industry. Like I wonder if more men were employed in like industrial jobs and were members of trade unions,
More connected to the trade union movement,
more likely to vote left in Labour. Those jobs have declined. You're much more likely to work like for yourself or in a job that isn't directly related to industry. You are out of that trade union movement, and you're looking for something to join, I guess, or something that looks out for you.
Well, they've suffered the most, I suppose, men, from the breaking of the social contract, which is if you go to university and then you go to work, or you just go to work, you'll be able to provide for the house. They suffered a bit more with it because it was expected. It was told to them for the last however many years that you would be able to provide, and now there are no jobs in which to do it. Also, it's like when you kind of look over at American politics and you look into have you been following the Elon Musk baby drama?
Yes.
A little bit, yeah.
It's incredible. All these conservative women are just like turning on this poor bitch who's been knocked up.
Yeah.
Who's been impregnated with the seed.
Jeez.
And,
Well, yeah, but, I mean,
Like
that's one of the lines. She literally called it his rocket seed.
wow. He
Bene
does a lot of IVF, doesn't he? He has a lot of IVF babies.
Yeah, but
A lot.
that's what all the jokes are that are like, this man has never had sex. But
Yeah, multiple with different women IVF
Wow.
pregnancies. Yeah.
a lot of these conservative right women in the States have been sort of using this really self-loathing line, which is like, I've been watching loads of their videos over the weekend, and basically like the common theme of their content is, we women cannot drive, we women should be in the home, and we women are taking up space in the workplace that men should have. And it's all happening through like
Step
DEI.
aside, sister.
Yeah, DEI has gone too far, and it's basically shared out the workload between men and women, and that's why men don't get paid enough anymore and don't have enough jobs. Look, I don't know, wrap your head around that, but that's what they're arguing.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Now,
Yeah.
if you follow that line of thinking, all right, walk with me down the corridor of for 1 hot minute.
Yeah.
There's probably a number of men who feel that that women have taken their spot in the workplace and that they've been given that position because rather than reflecting on their own inadequacies, it's much easier to say, well, it's because they're letting them in.
Yeah. And the same goes for migrants, I guess. It's just scapegoat your problems onto somebody else, whether it's a woman in the workplace or
There's
a brown person on the
absolute
street.
Bitch, by the way. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Who said a woman's greatest enemy is a man?
No. This woman, I can do this. This woman is not for the girls.
Really? Are you for the girls?
I'm not for Isabella Moody. That's her name.
I don't know who that is.
Isabella Moody shared this post from Ashley St. Clair, who asked her in 2023 for tips on being funny because she wanted to seduce Elon Musk and have his rocket babies, right? And then she posted a screenshot of the conversation. That is not girl code.
I think that situation is so mental that's almost like journalism. Just being like, who is this person that sought out to have Elon Musk's rocket baby? That's weird. It probably violates like your right to privacy. Absolutely.
I do think it does.
So what is it? Is it just standard? I wish to be impregnated by the richest man in the world.
It's actually really sad. She's like Ashley sends this tweet to Isabella Moody and she's like, is this funny? Like, I want Elon to notice me. And she's like, yes, haha, love it. And then Ashley replies, Elon followed me. I need his rocket babies.
Why do you think he keeps having kids?
Spread the seed.
He's got a thing about like population collapse.
So you think he's doing proto-natalism?
No, it is. It is like people. It's the people. The movement. People are like, we're super intelligent. I need to have more children.
Got you.
Like my genes need to be spread.
Yeah.
Because I'm a genius.
I wondered if he was trying to sort of dilute the inheritance pool to sort of spite his other baby mamas.
Would you care that much?
You're still probably going to get like 50 billion quid.
Oh no. Or like, would you care that much? You're dead, I guess.
Yeah. I wouldn't put being spiteful and vindictive past him. No.
No, I wouldn't.
How do we think? How do we think Elon feels about these results? AFD in a historic second place, doubling their vote.
I imagine he's quite happy. You know all this stuff that he does. That is just
that hand has not moved above a 60-degree angle in the last 12 hours.
You know, like when Farage talks about like, oh, they think like young people think Elon Musk is cool, and then Musk does all this stuff. I'm like, surely that's going to shatter at some point. Like he is cringe. Like if we like
the chainsaw stuff was cringe, wasn't it?
Or being like, this is a real photo about him holding that chainsaw or like whatever. They might think like Teslas are cool or Starlink, but surely Elon Musk can no longer be considered cool by anyone of rational thinking.
I've never felt more sick than when I'm in the back of a Tesla.
Really?
Just in terms of motion
Really?
sickness.
They're very comfortable.
Not in the back.
I remember once, the first time I'd ever been in one, arriving in Amsterdam, and the Uber was a Tesla.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, this is fucking sick.
It's quite standard now, isn't it?
I think so.
Do you remember when the wings were like that?
Yeah.
The doors were like wings. Yeah, that was quite exciting.
Like a Nazi salute.
Oh my God, Ed, it makes so much sense now.
Oh my God.
He's blown this thing wide open. It's there in plain sight.
A double Nazi salute. If you were to...
Clearly people think he's cool. If you place value on status and wealth, the world's richest man is clearly...
But there's like...
He puts rockets in space.
Yeah, but some people also think Andrew Tate is cool. And
Well, that's my point.
No, but
I'm not saying they're right.
But I'm not
get
even
that
approaching
more.
that from like a kind of like oh my God, Andrew Tate sucks. I'm not even approaching it from that. I'm like, the man will literally be like, walking around with that hookah, like a shisha. He's like dancing in his weird like leather sex dungeon. He's so uncool.
Yeah.
But I get that more from like a pure like toxically masculine
But it's not toxically masculine. It's the most like homo like things. I've never seen anything more. Like they might as well. The door might as well be a rainbow flag. Like it's ridiculous.
That's what the A in LGBTQIA stands for, is Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
The T stands for Tate, of
the
course.
T is for Tate, yeah.
And the plus is also, that's a T for Tate.
Yeah.
If you were Starmer looking at these elections, what would your plan of action be? Do you think this would? Do you think this will kick him on to do something, or do you think he will hope he can outlast this radical right moment?
Well, he is trying to grow the economy, or at least he says he is, and is obviously taking action to that effect. The hedge is whether or not he can grow the economy before we get round to the next election, which obviously is a difficult thing for an infrastructure project like that to come good in the space of less than 5 years, all that house building, etc. But we will see. I think that the lesson for me that I would learn is that just because they're not in power, like directly, very clearly they're shaping the Overton window and they're shaping policy, because the CDU, who are going to go into government, have taken parts of their legislative agenda from the AfD. And it has to be said as well, by the way, the history of the CDU in Germany, they used to be a lot more right wing than they are now. They sort of used to be very traditional on the family, and they used to sort of absorb neo-Nazi movements or like sort of fledgling successor parties, and they can't now because they're so centrist, or they were anyway. But as a centrist party saying that Germany's going to withdraw from Schengen, the stuff on climate change and cutting corporation tax, and as you said, Ava, pointing Germany away from America and more in Russia's direction. Those are all very clear examples to me of how AfD is being the tail that wags the dog, and
being the tail that wags the dog.
Yeah.
Oh.
Rather than the dog wagging the tail, i.e., the leading party stipulating the direction that the country goes in. It's the well, not fringe because they're on 20%, but the party that everyone would like to be fringe, that would like to remain behind the cordon sanitaire, but they're influencing policy, and so it doesn't matter if you can beat Reform into second place if you absorb large parts of their legislative agenda. But what is the purpose of your politics?
Does it just would the AfD have done as well as this if they had an AfD policy as well? Did it just make their policies more palatable and acceptable? If they'd maintained a firm, we're not going to kowtow to this kind of rhetoric and language and beliefs, would that it's what they say is about you want the real thing. You want if
full fat.
If you think those policies are appropriate, then go for the original. Don't go for the imitator.
Something you would like, I think. They want to bring back the Deutschmark.
Why would I like that?
I think you like silly ideas where we find people stupid.
Right.
They want to withdraw from the euro.
Well, yeah,
and bring back the Deutschmark.
I do think Germany, at the heart of the European Union, leaving Schengen and the euro, is that just the end of the European Union as a project?
I think it probably is. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
becomes the French Empire?
What are the next steps? Really, when you're actually sitting there as Starmer, what are the next steps here? Because you've got Friedrich Merz, who's now arguing that they can move away from American power, and that actually he's just going to rely on England and France's nuclear capabilities, which made me laugh a lot because I'm like, have you seen Trident? It doesn't fucking work, pal.
Yeah. Also, the Americans can turn it on and off. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's their technology. They can't obviously stop the subs from launching, or they might be able to. I don't know if the top secret stuff. But like at the end of the day, it's not as if we're sort of an independent nuclear power separate from America. We pay them £100 billion for the privilege of leasing the technology from them.
And so that's why we now have to call the Atlantic like the Trump-tantic or something. And then if we don't refer to it
the
as
American
that,
Sea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like that. He was on the rounds last night shouting about how he's just going to rely on England and France, and I don't think that's not where Starmer is. Hang on a minute.
There's enough pressure on me at the moment, pal.
Because if you're going to do that, then you're going to have to dramatically increase the spend that we have, that we are, putting into nuclear. But listen. Starmer just last week was arguing about, they're all having these rows in the MOD about increasing GDP defence spend to 2.5%, right? There is no appetite for this. No one has any interest in doing this, apart from people who are, in government or a couple of civil servants. There is no one who is interested in more 11% departmental cuts in order to continue funding the war in Ukraine. And I'm sorry if that makes me, as some people who says it on Twitter, Neville Chamberlain. I fucking said it.
I think Laura said it as well, actually. I think
did.
she called you an appeaser.
She did. But it's just point in fact. You're looking at Germany right now. Not even a war could save Germany. Not like throwing a load of cash into defeating Russia would suddenly turn people away from the AfD. That's not what they're arguing for.
This is Putin's wet dream, isn't it? A fractured Europe in this way.
Of course it is.
You know, we haven't even mentioned fucking our boy Keir's got to go over and sock it to Donald Trump this week. He's got to go and tell him what's up.
Mr. President, you'll stay in NATO. Box you right in the nose.
But yeah, like Germany's like turning away from America, possibly withdrawing from the Schengen travel area.
And going back to the Deutsche.
Yeah, return to the Deutsche. Well,
Going
yeah.
back to the concert of Europe. It's mental.
Do you think we could get that here? Maybe I want that.
Deutschmark.
Yeah, maybe I want that here. Shall I start a campaign?
You could, well, like, to join. You don't want to join the euro. What kind of Romania is that? You don't want to join the. You're not trying to rejoin the EU.
It's like the most extreme FBPE opinion.
Just Germany. Just a good bit. We didn't mean Romania, and you know that. We meant Germany.
Putin's been waiting for Trump to win this election, and he has. And now the other part of that equation is Europe fracturing. And that also appears to be coming good.
What's the argument for leaving the euro? Is it that their exports are... Would it make exports difficult? Because if you've got someone like Greece who's not pulling their share, does that devalue the euro? Is that what the problem
I think
is?
they essentially underwrite all of the sort of ailing economies of Europe, don't they?
Oh, well, they can't leave then. We're going to have a bit of a problem if they leave. What are we going to lie on? The franc? Like,
The lira.
that lot isn't out of bed until 1 p.m.
I miss the drachma.
Krona.
Yeah. Great currency. Great currency.
Maybe we can just use those Scottish £20 notes.
They're real. You can use those here. They are legal tender.
I had a woman in Waitrose like years and years ago, about 10 years ago, who like came up to me and went to use one of those notes. And it was genuinely like we weren't taking cash that morning because there was like some problem with the till. And before I could even say we're just not doing cash, she just started screaming at me, "It's real! It's legal tender!" So I know.
My country and my currency are real. I promise you. Ed, we're at a hard out. You need to go.
I do.
It's been an absolute pleasure
Guess
to
where I'm going. Follow me.
It's a pleasure to podcast with you.
As always.
Take care. Goodbye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Goodbye.